Hello world, my name is Andrew Levine. I'm the content director for Steemit, the team behind the Steem blockchain protocol and Steemit.com. I recently sat down with the team behind the SteemMonsters app, which is the first decentralized trading card game on a blockchain. They launched just 2 months ago, but have already sold almost $200,000 in packs. In our wide-ranging discussion, we explore why they built the dApp and how they leveraged Steem's unique value propositions to take their application from concept to revenue generation in just a few short months. Specifically, we discuss how SteemMonsters takes advantage of Steem's scalability and speed, which have enabled it to accumulate a massive user base that any decentralized application, like SteemMonsters, is able to tap into instantly at no cost. We covered a lot of ground in this interview, so if you're interested in the state-of-the-art in blockchain application development, keep watching or listening. Yeah, so why don't you just start by telling us a bit about yourselves and what your background is, what you did outside of Steem, and then once you got into the blockchain, what that was like.
Sure. So I'm a PhD chemist. I was working in the corporate gig, helping. I was a professor for a while. Then I started getting into higher education publishing, and I've actually been working in sales and marketing for a long time, almost a decade in like a professional role. So my background is trying to go help professors teach their students better, and actually it's a natural fit for some of the things that I've been doing on the Steem blockchain, which is the Peace, Abundance, and Liberty Network, which is the largest off-chain social group on the Steem blockchain. We have 20,000 members or so that are part of that community. I founded Minnow Support Project, which is designed to spread the values of peace, abundance, and liberty, to help train and retain minnows on the platform, and to help grow Steem overall. And ultimately, all of those goals align really well with what we're doing with SteemMonsters, because we want to spread some of those values, and we can do that through the storytelling. We want to help Steem grow, and we can do that by onboarding new users that want to play this game. And we want to help retain people, and maybe they can't make money blogging, but they could certainly have fun playing this game, and hopefully that'll keep them coming back to the Steem blockchain and interacting that way. So a little bit of sales, a little bit of board gaming, and some nerd stuff in my past, and now off to build SteemMonsters.
And Matt?
Yeah, so I got into software development when I was around 10 years old, specifically because I wanted to create my own video games. And then, I went to school for that and everything, had a job, various different companies as a software developer, more recently, in management and digital product development. And more recently with Steem, I kind of got back into doing software development. I originally started with the Steem bot tracker platform, just as a way to, kind of organize and, the bots and different services that are available and make that information available to everybody. But like I said, since I started with the intention of creating games, and I just loved games like Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone, I just thought it was an awesome opportunity to get back in and do some game development here.
So how did you guys wind up finding each other and starting down this road of creating SteemMonsters?
It's a good question.
You found me, right? You said, "Hey, Agro, let's go meet in Philly." Or I said I was going to go drive down. I was like heading down to work to go visit some university, and I was going to drive. And you said, "Oh, we could go meet in Philly. That's a convenient location." And I said, "Sure." I think, isn't that what we did?
Yeah, I feel like we were talking before then, but that's kind of when things.
Well, yeah,
got
that's
started.
We were just casually like, you were like, "Hey, I'm a new witness, and I'm on this blockchain, and I'm a programmer," and I'm like, "Hey, I'm always looking for programmers. Let's go."
Was it through Discord or Slack or Steam?
Yeah, mostly Discord.
Yeah. Everything that I do, with the exception of a little bit of activity, is almost entirely on Discord.
And are you writing Steem posts as well? Are you on Steemit.com and like reading each other's articles, or is it mainly
I think I've written more articles than the other top 20 witnesses combined. I'm not entirely certain about that, but like up until SteemMonsters, I was blogging 3 to 4 times a day, and almost none of the other witnesses were doing that.
And I've read some of your stuff too, or is that more of a recent development? You're blogging? Or?
Well, no, I had not been a blogger previous to coming onto Steem, so it's kind of something I always wanted to do. So, Steem had me start doing that. It was a great introduction to that. And obviously, my posts are very technical and about projects I'm working on, or about the Steem platform and things that people might not know about it, and helping developers and stuff like that. Definitely don't post as much as Aggro, but
Well, who does?
yeah.
Well, so that brings us to SteemMonsters. You guys met, however it happened. How did the process of starting this business really? How did that come about?
He said to me, I want to make a game. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. I have all this artwork already made for a game. I just haven't been able to go figure out how I want to actually put it together. So I had this vision back in 2014. I played World of Warcraft quite a bit, and I wanted my kids to have an avatar. Like, Agrod is a name of the tank that I played, and ultimately I just kept finding myself summoning that warrior spirit at different times. And I wanted that avatar for them to think about, oh, I'm this powerful person. I can do these incredible things. I thought having that avatar was really awesome. So I started making game elements. I had already been working on I did a Kickstarter, and I knew I wanted to make another game. So I had some good artists, and I had a lot of overarching themes. I didn't want to do just another standard card game though. So I was kind of limited by that, but I had a lot of these game elements, and he said, oh, I love games and I want to make this. And it just made perfect sense that let's take the elements I have, kind of the story that we're going with here, because this can all work on a blockchain really well. Just need the right person to team up with to help code the back end of this, and you need somebody that can help with the community facing things to help grow sort of the sales and marketing of that business.
Why do it on a blockchain at all?
This, even before we started talking, a long time ago, I wanted to do a card game on the blockchain because you have Magic the Gathering, which was kind of like the original one of these. And it was cool because you physically owned all your cards. I can sell them. I'm still looking for my old Magic the Gathering cards right now to try to sell them.
Yep.
So then it's obviously went online, which made perfect sense. And you had Hearthstone, which was a huge hit. But then you lost that ability. You don't really own any of your cards anymore. You can't trade them or sell them. So blockchain now gave the opportunity to combine both those worlds. So you can have a digital game that you can play online against anyone anywhere in the world, but you also have a way to physically own the digital, or not physically, but to own the digital, to own the digital assets, and then trade or sell them, and there's no company like Blizzard that is in control of them. And then the second thing that it by making it decentralized, what people don't realize, I think, is that since all the information is public on the blockchain, anyone could take this game and kind of make their own version. So if Hearthstone were to do something that people didn't like, which happens, somewhat often, that's it. You can't do anything about that. But here, literally someone could go and take this information and make, SteemMonsters 2 or whatever, a totally different name. And
or if both of us die.
Yeah, or anything that happens. I mean, that's the whole idea of decentralization. We don't control this. It's out there, and people can kind of do what they want with that. And I think that's awesome, and I look forward to the day when people make other interfaces for the game that are potentially better than what we've done.
But I want to add another piece to that, is that the part of this being a blockchain is that there's a community that exists in the Steam ecosystem. We didn't start from absolutely nothing. We had a blockchain that was pre-existing, so we could build off of that blockchain. The same way, we didn't have to create a community from scratch. Are we up to 2,000 starter packs now?
At least around that.
Yeah, so it's around 2,000 starter packs and 60,000 boosters or something, probably more. And that didn't happen. It wouldn't have happened if we didn't just do this on Steam. If we launched our own blockchain, which would have been nearly impossible to do anyways, or very technically challenging to launch your own, and then tried to get an ecosystem around it, just the technical hurdles
and
of
people.
that. And people, and having a community. I mean, we launched, and within days, we had hundreds, if not thousands of users. I mean, that's pretty remarkable, and that's because there's a pre-existing ecosystem. I'm one of the most followed authors on the platform. So I could use that kind of that soapbox to go reach a lot of people, and some combination of a pre-existing blockchain, a smart dev, and a salesperson with a big reach from having been posting for 2 years quite regularly, that magic kind of came together to go create like a really explosive hit in the very first month that we've been operating.
I've been calling it the turnkey user base, one of the most undervalued elements of Steam as a blockchain. I mean, there's the turnkey content management system, there's a turnkey decentralized token distribution mechanism, and then there's the turnkey user base.
Yeah.
But that brings us to kind of the numbers, how successful is this? How revenue-wise, how are you guys doing?
I'm blown away. Matt's like, oh, I expected this.
Well, no, so I want to clarify that. So the whole reason, another big reason I wanted to make this type of game is because I feel like there's a huge overlap between the crypto community and the community of people who like these games. So I'm like, here's this bunch of people. They have all this cryptocurrency now. They're relatively wealthy. We give them a game that they like that's built on blockchain, and it should work really well. I am despite that, I'm still surprised at the reception we've gotten before even having the game built.
Yeah, I mean, we're in alpha, and we've sold $120,000 worth of currency for this game. We're a month deep, and you can't even fight yet. I mean, like that's remarkable, and people are just like craving these cards. Actually, one of the other things that has really helped us, there's a program called SteemBay, and SteemBay is a way that people can go auction off the cards that they've found through either trading or actually just buying booster packs. But every time that somebody does one of these SteemBay auctions, they post it and it goes to all the people that follow them. So like in Facebook world, I would have to go boost my post and try to get everybody to see this because they throttle who can see your posts. That doesn't happen on Steam. And all these people that want to go transact back and forth, they're all using these SteemBay posts to go sell the cards. So there's like a built-in way that they can do an auction, which ends up being really good marketing for us. And it has just led to viral growth. And then we combine that with trying to open source the community development of the actual game. So we've been doing, we put together the largest writing competition that I know of on the Steam blockchain. It's 1,500 SBD. There's 6 teams that could win portions of that. And there's something like 20 odd teams that are competing for that money. And each team is about 4 or 5 people. I mean, we got 100 authors on this platform trying to go build the lore and the game content. That's for like the main campaign setting, but we also have people trying to write stories for the cards. And so we'll have contests for that. We'll have contests for art. And literally as these people are creating all this like really cool art and amazing stories, they're spreading that to all of their fans and all of their followers. And it's just snowballing the way that people know about us. It didn't take very long for this community to sort of latch on to this and see.
In addition to the turnkey user base, there's an ecosystem element. Yep. Like a lot of people are looking at blockchains and ones that are coming in the future, and they think that the moment it launches, it'll be amazing. And the reality to me seems that the blockchain's it's the backbone. But what really matters is the whole ecosystem. And like when you launched SteemMonsters, and I knew you were doing it, and I was aware. I don't think any of us saw that SteemBay connection.
Oh yeah,
this doesn't matter.
No way.
But those elements come together regardless of whether you know about them or plan them anyway and help you out.
Well, we get DMs all the time.
And DLive too. That's huge because, I mean, obviously there's a huge live streaming community for games. Hearthstone, being one, Magic the Gathering also. So people started, there's not even a game yet, but people are just streaming their pack opening and talking about things on DLive. And the coolest thing is on Steam, they actually earn money for that. I mean, so it's more incentive. Like we're also giving people now more content to post and a way to earn money by helping the game and being involved.
It's hilarious to me. They go on to DLive, they stream, they catch a couple big votes, and then they buy more packs to stream again. And it's like, this is an amazing cycle that I don't know where else that can happen. I can't go to Facebook and have that happen. There's something specific about this being on the Steam blockchain and people not just supporting us, but they're also supporting the people that are supporting us, so that the people that are writing the stories are getting upvotes. The people that are, sharing some of the art are getting upvotes. The people that are selling cards are getting upvotes just to go put together the auction to sell the cards. And so there's lots of different peripheral ways that people can actually get paid to be a part of this without doing anything game related. It's all Steam related, which is that goes back to how does this ecosystem work, and having a turnkey distribution mechanism already up and functioning, and already having the community like ready to go and just there. Like we stepped in, and there's just so many working parts to this that we could just benefit from right off the bat.
Yeah, they all seem to feed back into each other. When you come with new value, when you come with a great app, and that's definitely one of the things I hope we can manage to convey through this conversation, is what you guys showed is that if you come to the Steem blockchain with a great idea and a great beginning of an app, you can start getting revenue, you can start getting funding really, really quickly. But it's because it's a great idea, it's a great effort. And then once you do that, once you fire up that effort, these feedback loops kind of spiral up. Yep. And it becomes this, like you shared with me that article about the Jester.
Yeah.
And it as somebody who's created content, it's remarkably difficult to consistently come up with ideas for content. Yeah. And so what a great story, overall story, like the SteemMonsters story, what that does for people is it gives them that inspiration to start writing. And that story was just amazing.
Yeah, so Twisted Jester is literally my favorite fantasy article that's been written on Steem in 2 years of being here. And that's not just because it's my game and I'm excited that it's my game. It's just, that's a really freaking good story. It's just so dark and it's awesome. Having that be part of the game, come out of the community, and there's something to building this fantasy setting that people in this community can care about, and then using that to help grow the content base that is part of our game, but that people are doing, that encourages upvotes, that gets re-steams, and I don't know, there's just a whole bunch of this kind of coming together that helps spread the lore, spread the ecosystem, spread the authors, and I think ultimately it makes it so that people are pretty excited about participating in the game as well.
It's good because it's somewhat long, and I just read the whole thing because it was just so compelling. How long did it take you to develop SteemMonsters, would you say?
Not that long. I have a full-time job, so I do this on the side, and we have some people helping out. But my main focus has been really on efficiency and just, not trying to bite off more than we can chew, and making sure we can do something, and actually put something out that's good. And that's a lot of what you talked about, like the Steem blockchain just provides a lot of that. So I don't think it would have been a much bigger project to do it on another platform. So Steem really enabled us to get something out really quickly, which is awesome. So it's really only a few months of work, and that's not at all full-time work so far.
I mean, I had game elements sitting on the shelf. So my artist, he's brilliant, but he's also slow as can be. So all these kind of components take time, but I had already, spent a couple grand getting art together to go and work patiently with this guy to make these really cool monsters and beasts. And I knew I was going to put something together with him. It was just a question of how to do that. And also just having done a successful Kickstarter campaign before, that's a big deal too, because it gives me a lot of sense of how can I work with the community to kind of expand our reach and get other people involved and make this really interactive to help it go viral. So, between to me, it feels like, he had to work his whole life to learn how to be a good coder to make this work and get it done quickly. And I had to spend lots of time doing all this other stuff to grow an audience and help learn how to build communities quickly and help know how to run Kickstarter style gaming openings and things like that. So in some ways it felt like it was 1 month and it was wildly successful. And in other ways it's we kind of had to prep quite a bit to get there, and we had to get known on the Steem ecosystem, and we have to learn how to program. But, with the right combinations of things, it was a month and a month or two, and was already hugely successful.
So there were a couple of non-technical reasons to leverage Steem. It seems like you guys are also crowdsourcing a lot of the work involved, and
tons.
And Steem helps there, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
So the writing story that we're doing is to go build the campaign for When you have a game, you often have a single player version of the game. So if we want to go build that, we have 6 different colors that are part of what we're calling the splinterlands. You're going to have the white team, red team, black team, blue team, green team, and gold team. But what I don't want is for them all to have the same exact history. I want this to be a really diverse cultural experience to go read through the red team, and it's going to feel really different than the green team, and so on. So what we did is we put together the biggest Reading competition on the Steem blockchain that I know of, and we have all these teams that are writing it. At the end, they're producing like 20 to 30 page documents, and so this is going to be the background, like setting the campaign. Like, is it a future setting? Is it the Wild West? Is it this monster land? Like, you got to build the campaign for what this game looks like, or what do the creatures look like? What does the land look like? So that's what I've been able to kind of crowdsource to put together. And part of that is it makes it like the amount of work that's getting generated is ridiculous in a very short period of time. But it also keeps the game from feeling homogenous. If I was just sitting here writing each different team, they would kind of blend together. The fact that we can kind of spread this out to all these different groups makes it so that like every team is going to kind of have a pride and feel like that's their team, and maybe even feel that natural competition with the other teams, and come at this with very different storylines than I would have created. So between all of that, I think we're going to get this really rich history. But we couldn't have done that. Like, how do you crowdsource something like that if you don't have like a team of writers sort of already built in? Like, how do I get 100 writers and have that community just readily accessed? Like, there's something about the Steem ecosystem of having talented musicians, having talented authors, having talented playwrights and fiction story writers and poets and artists. Like, there's just tons of talent that's sitting here, and we can just leverage it and build some really amazing content around it. And it's faster than what I could do by myself, and it's better than what I could do by myself. And we're creating some pretty epic lore in very short orders by crowdsourcing this. And that's also helping our marketing efforts extensively, because we got 100 people excited about their game, talking about what they're building, and spreading pieces of this throughout all of the Steem ecosystem. And as they share their stories, it helps promote what we're doing.
What about technical reasons for leveraging the Steem blockchain? This could be something you built on Ethereum or some other blockchain. Are there significant technical reasons to build it on Steem? Are there benefits? Are there downsides?
Originally, like, I had the whole concept to build a game using a card game using blockchain, and I had a vision of like creating an entirely new blockchain for it, because Ethereum does not work. It's, if the whole game's gonna be run on the blockchain, you can't like pay a fee every time you want to do anything, and you can't wait however long it is,
or get your transaction rejected.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't work for this. I mean, that's why something like Steem is not built on Ethereum. It just doesn't work for that. So I was like, oh, am I going to create like a whole new blockchain? And that's just, not really a doable project for me.
Well, it's a whole other project. I think that's what a lot of people fail to realize is if you want to do X, and they're like, well, I'm going to fire up a blockchain and then I'm going to do Y. It's like, okay, those are 2 separate projects.
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't realistic. So, I started talking to Agrode. He had this art, he had this stuff. So originally, I actually thought we were, kind of compromising by using Steem. Like, it doesn't really do what we want, but we have all these great elements. There's the great community, there's the reward system, so we'll do what we can do, and that's that. But I actually, my most recent post, I've realized since starting this project that we can actually make a fully decentralized game on the Steem blockchain, using things like soft consensus mechanisms. And I literally did not think that was possible, beforehand. And it's really kind of opened my mind to what's really possible on the Steem blockchain. Is just way more than I've ever thought before. And the tooling isn't there yet, but the HiveMind project that Steemit Inc. is working on, I've realized kind of the potential there, because that is the beginnings of the tooling to make this stuff kind of much easier to build. Like, a lot of the work that I'm doing now would just be already built as part of that. The ability to do these soft consensus mechanisms, which is basically like smart contracts. It's just not at the blockchain level. It's above the blockchain level.
Could you elaborate on that? The difference between soft consensus versus hard consensus?
Yeah, the idea is, I mean, it's just basically whether or not the blockchain itself accepts the transaction. So if you made, like, there's CryptoKitties on Ethereum. So if I submitted a transaction to the Ethereum blockchain that said, I'm sending you this CryptoKitty that's not a CryptoKitty that I actually have in my account, the blockchain is going to say, you don't have that CryptoKitty, you can't send it. Right? Because that's what the smart contract dictates. That's hard consensus. So on Steem, we can't build a CryptoKitties smart contract, so we can't do that. So I could publish a transaction to the Steem blockchain that says I have some super rare SteemMonsters card, right? The blockchain doesn't know. It would allow that transaction to go on the blockchain forever. But what soft consensus is that basically everyone using the blockchain agrees that I don't actually have that card. And even though the transaction's there on the blockchain, everyone agrees that it is invalid. So what basically the HiveMind project is doing is just, putting actual rules and code around that. So, the full nodes that you use to get information and query the blockchain will just, come back and say, hey, this transaction's invalid. So it's the same thing at the end of the day. It's just, in one case, it's verified at the blockchain level. In the other case, it's verified, on top of the blockchain with these meta layers. So now that I kind of understand that, I've started to realize that there's a lot of potential on the Steem blockchain. And all you really need is a public, immutable ledger, which is, and Bitcoin would work too. You could do all of this on Bitcoin with the same soft consensus mechanism, but that would be even worse for obvious reasons.
How many hours do you want to wait until your monster
but you could do it. It's sufficient, I think. So Steem is also sufficient, and it has no transaction fees, and it's very quick.
And it has a community,
and and all the other benefits we've discussed.
All these people that are very talented. I mean, just a lot of this all comes together.
Yeah, so we can build a full, and we're not quite there yet, but this is going to be a fully decentralized application where you should be able to do anything that you could do with a smart contract on Ethereum or EOS or anything else.
Do you think it's fair to say that smart contracts are a bit overhyped, overvalued, or they have their function? And
I'd say they're kind of a different way of doing the same thing. So they have benefits in that, the blockchain will reject any transactions that are invalid. Here on Steem, you kind of have to have another layer that checks that. Additionally, the code is actually run in the smart contract. So, if, we were selling these packs of cards, right now that code is running on our servers. It's all public, it's all verifiable, so you can go and check that we are executing it in the published way. But you have to actually do that. If it's a smart contract on the blockchain, there's no extra checking. It's the smart contract that it can't be changed. But there's actually some benefits to it, because if you have the smart contract and it can't be changed, what if there's a bug in it, right? We've seen that with the DAO hack and the parity incident. So if there's some bug with SteemMonsters, we don't have this whole problem where we need to potentially fork the entire blockchain. We just go change the code, and we have everyone agree in the soft consensus mechanism that this new version is now the right version. And the interesting thing is that, let's say we went and made some change and people don't agree with that change, right? It's all public, it's all decentralized. Someone could go make another version. They could make SteemMonsters Classic, and do it the original way. And you know what? If everyone likes that better than whatever we did, then great, and they can do that. So that's what decentralization means, and we have that.
Right, I think it's the distinction kind of between an ideological understanding of decentralization versus a practical understanding of it. So what are you trying to accomplish through the decentralization? What you talked about, to me, the word auditing comes to mind. And, what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the problem with the way that you do it is that some level of auditing is necessary if you want to, know for certain that the rules are being obeyed.
Yeah.
But it's also true that a certain amount of auditing is necessary when you're doing smart contracts on something like Ethereum. Like, you have to go and look at the smart contract and make sure that it's like, even with CryptoKitties, I remember there, and like, I'm not trying to spread this idea that it's us versus them and it's one's better or worse. But I remember people like discovering how CryptoKitties actually worked and how they're manufactured, and many people were feeling, oh no, once I look into the code, I don't really like how it's organized. So it's all auditing of some type.
Yeah, the difference is, I think, on Ethereum, it's there and that's it, right? So you audit it, you want to see what it is and what it's doing, but you don't ever have to worry about that changing. Right. So we can publish, here's what we're doing and here's how it works, and you can verify that it works that way. But since the code is actually executed on private servers, we could change that at any point, and then it's up to people to now notice, and everything's available for them to notice that it's changed. We can't do it and hide it, but there is more work, I guess, from the community to validate that.
So where do you see SteemMonsters going in the future? What do you hope to accomplish? Is SteemMonsters the only thing you guys want to work on and you want to make that big, or
I'm not even on to the next project. We're not done with this. I mean, we got a lot of work to do.
So a year from now, where do you see SteemMonsters?
I mean, I want SteemMonsters to be a highly successful collectible card game. I want to see weekly tournaments with very large prizes. We're building a market. I want to take a small cut from the market to go pump up tournaments so that when people are competing, there's actually pretty large prize pools that they could win by playing this game. I mean, not everybody is a content creator. Not everybody wants to write articles or sing songs or write poems or whatever. Like, some people might just want to play games, but if they could play games on here and earn money doing that, like, that would be really exciting. So I want to try to present this opportunity to go do other types of activities here and have that be rewarding. But I also want to evangelize this thing. I mean, to me, the most important thing that I do is spread the values of peace, abundance, and liberty. And I think that this platform does it better than anything else I've encountered. If you act in a hostile manner to other people, you get downvoted. So you have an economic incentive to be a good human being to one another. There's an abundance mindset here that, like, I can create things that don't always cost me my resources. I can do that through a re-steam. Like, when I re-steam to 22,000 people, it can help projects get off the ground and it doesn't cost me anything. In terms of liberty, I got kicked off of Facebook 5 times, but for presenting some controversial material over there. And they just kept shadow banning me. And Twitter shadow bans, and Reddit will take down threads. I mean, it's like, it's hard to find a platform where you can get your voice heard. And I've been able to do that successfully for 2 years without interruptions on the Steem blockchain. So to me, I want to help spread what this thing does, and not just through SteemMonsters, but I mean, like, the Steem ecosystem and the Steem platform does some incredible things, and I think SteemMonsters is a really good gateway to that. And I think we can help people kind of find that out. They just come here to go play a game, and they're like, whoa, look at all these cool people, and look at all this cool content, and look at the creativity that's here. But they just started with, I just want to play a game.
Yeah, I would say that's key about making it a good game. So CryptoKitties is not a good game. I mean, it's not even, you could hardly even call it a game. It was just a big thing because it was like the first kind of game on a blockchain, right? So I don't want this to be like, oh, it's not that great a game, but it's on a blockchain, so it's kind of cool. I want this to just be a good game by itself. And then, also, you've heard of this, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Well, this game, uses that. It's built on that. So you can come in and you can actually earn and get cryptocurrency through this game. So it combines those worlds, but it's also just a good game on its own, and that will hopefully drive a lot of people into the Steem platform.
So right now, the game is effectively just buying and selling the cards, which is about what CryptoKitties is too. It's just these digital assets that are created and traded. But pretty soon you guys are going to be launching actual live gameplay, and that's going to be happening on the blockchain itself?
Think of something like Hearthstone. I mean, we're not. It's not going to be a real time, like I take a turn, you take a turn, etc. So it'll be like I submit my deck of cards and you submit your deck of cards, and the battle's played out.
So it's a drafting game.
Yeah.
So like think about Final. Now I always say Final Fantasy. Think about fantasy football, right? You're going to draft your QB, a couple wideouts. You're going to have a running back, and that team is going to go face some other team. So this is a drafting game, but instead of it being sports players, it's a D&D party. I'm going to go get my tank, I'm going to get a healer, I'm going to go get a rogue, maybe a mage, and we got to go blast the crap out of the other team. So we have a fighting mechanism and a fighting system, and the players of this game are going to go draft their team and have it face the other team, and that combat's going to be simulated.
And again, all published on the blockchain. So we will publish the actual code for performing the fighting, and all the randomized elements will be seeded with something from the blockchain, a combination of the block ID and the transaction ID. So if I say I want to fight aggroed, I submit a transaction to the blockchain with here's my group of cards. He submits a transaction that says here's my group of cards. And then anyone that the code will run, it'll show the results in a nice, fun way, and then anyone can take those transactions and run the code themselves to verify, again, that the code we run is what we published. So that goes back to how, the verification and auditing mechanism that's available.
My monsters won't win every single fight because we coded the game. We're going to make it so that it's a fair system and anybody can verify it on the block.
Yeah, it gets back to that ideological versus practical, where the important thing is verifiability, not whether, it's just everything is on a blockchain.
So just imagine, like, if we made rules for fighting and one of our rules was broken and, like, we were on Ethereum, we'd have to, fork this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'd have to, publish a new smart contract and switch it over. It's
what a nightmare
difficult.
Yeah, you can't iterate like you can here. I mean, we could just keep doing new versions. We get feedback from the audience and we want to make changes. We can do that. We're not stuck with one smart contract that it lives immutably forever. We can actually make some changes to make improvements along the way and not miss a beat.
And the coolest part, though, in my opinion, is if we make these changes along the way and people don't like it, make your own version that's better or different, and see if people like that. And that's great also for us if people are doing that. I would love to see other people making their own versions of this in the future that are just different and maybe better in different ways.
And that's basically because Steam is open source, is what you're saying, right? Because all of your code's on Steam, anybody can fork Steam.
No, you don't have to fork Steam.
But you don't even have to fork Steam.
No, it's just, we have code on a server that runs, but all the data is published on the Steam blockchain. So in Hearthstone, let's say I didn't like something in Hearthstone and I wanted to make a new version. I don't know what cards everybody has. I don't know how everything's actually, coded. I mean, that I guess you can discern, but I don't know the whole state of the game to recreate it. But on a blockchain, everything is published. So there are already card explorers that people made that are totally have nothing to do with us. I didn't even know about them. They just take the data from the blockchain and they can show it in some different way. And they can also, they can do anything that you can do on the SteemMonsters.com website. They can allow you to combine your cards to get more experience. They can allow you to trade your cards. And none of it has to have anything to do with us, as long as you publish the appropriate things to the blockchain with the appropriate keys.
Which is different than Hearthstone. I mean, if I wanted to trade with Yabba, first off, I can't. There's no mechanism for me to do that. But even if there was, I would have to go through that central server, and they're the only people that could tell us, yes, that trade happened. That is not decentralized. That's incredibly centralized. If I want to trade with Matt, I just have to I could use my own interface or the SteemMonsters interface, or I could go build my own, and the two of us could go move cards back and forth, and it wouldn't matter. Or more importantly, if other people other than the two of us wanted to move cards, they can do it. They don't need permission from us. They just post that transaction. I aggroed, give this card to somebody else. You can post that on the block and somebody else can receive that. That's part of the state of the game. You don't need us in the middle there.
What I love about that is that if you have a truly innovative technology, the beauty of that is that you integrate it into existing products and services, and just through the integration, you can do something better. And so what it seems like you're saying is you feel you guys have made a better Hearthstone by incorporating this new technology.
Certainly the trading aspect. I mean, the game itself costs millions of dollars to make. So, we don't have that kind of budget, and that's part of why this isn't like a turn-by-turn thing. But I do think that, drafting games is a massive market. I mean, fantasy football, fantasy basketball, fantasy baseball. That is a huge thing. We're just making the fantasy monsters as opposed to the fantasy being I'm going to pick this QB. I think we're making it, there are aspects of this that are absolutely better in the sense that you own your own digital asset.
Fundamentally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, things that can't be done.
Yeah, it combines the physical, benefits of a Magic the Gathering with the digital benefits of a game like Hearthstone in a way that was just not, actually possible before blockchain technology.
Well, the other important thing I want to touch on is, you've talked a lot about the back end, but all of this is going to be done through SteemMonsters.com, right? So even if I actually don't care at all about the blockchain, SteemMonsters.com is just going to be a normal gaming interface.
If you know nothing about the blockchain, you could still play. I mean, you got to be able to send a transaction, but...
Well, I mean, hopefully not, because we would like to accept, US dollars through just a credit card payment. So yeah, the goal, which hopefully in the not too distant future would be that someone who knows nothing about blockchain or cryptocurrency can come on and, just put in their credit card information and both buy the starter pack and create a Steam account at the same time in the same transaction. And then they're in. They're a member of the community.
I don't know of a lot of user interfaces for other blockchains. Is there something about Steam? Is it the client-side signing that makes it more amenable to user interfaces like SteemMonsters.com?
CryptoKitties and things, that's an interface, that uses the Ethereum blockchain. But Ethereum's not necessarily built for that use case. Steam is literally built for the, websites to use it. So one of the things that I think is awesome is that I'm not a blockchain developer. I've never done a smart contract. I don't know cryptography or any of that stuff. I'm a web developer. There's tons of web developers because the internet's been the biggest thing for the last 20 years. And that's what Steam is built for. So, it has everything kind of ready to go for you to use the skills you already have as a web developer and get the benefits of a blockchain, which you don't have on Ethereum. You have to learn the new smart contracts and how they work and all that stuff.
So obviously you guys love Steam, and that's great, but you also accept other cryptocurrencies. Why do you do that?
I mean, a big part of this project is to bring in people from outside the existing Steam ecosystem. So I mentioned, we are trying to accept US dollar payments through credit cards. We also accept payments in other cryptocurrencies. And what happens is those just get converted to Steam. So every single purchase of a SteemMonsters starter pack or booster pack has to come through Steam or Steam dollars on the Steam platform. Because otherwise, no one, again, we lose that verification. So anyone can see on the Steam blockchain, a payment came in, these cards were generated, and they can verify that that was done in the pre-published manner. If we're now accepting, Bitcoin just to our separate address or USD to our bank account, and we're not doing anything, then cards get generated on the Steam blockchain and no one knows, right? So it's just, we're just, instead of people having to convert their Bitcoin or other currencies to Steam and then make the purchase, we've utilized the Block Trades API to just do that for them in one seamless fashion. So it's all just bringing money into Steam and using Steam at the end of the day.
And that's, again, part of the ecosystem. We didn't have to invent Block Trades. Block Trades exists. Let's just go plug this thing in. I mean, it would be really convenient if somebody could just go pay with Litecoin.
I did that in an hour and a half, one night. That's how easy it was.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, again, a lot of these pieces are already here. We got to do some work to integrate them, but it's Steam Bay just fell in our laps. The block trades was just right there. I mean, these are just tools that we can go integrate that the community has built that are they're like free or free-ish, and so we can go incorporate these things and make our game better and more accessible. If we just tried to do this on our own blockchain and we started from scratch, none of that would be there. The people aren't there.
Years away, probably.
Yeah, it's years. I mean, and it's not just years. There's no revenue during that time. That's all expenses. That gets really costly. We have to go develop the thing to develop the thing we want to make. That, I don't know, production cost would go through the roof. There's no revenue. Here, we did this in 2 months of intensive work and then had a functioning thing where we could generate revenue, and with the game's profitable. It's hugely profitable in 2 months of this.
One of the things that was really interesting when I heard you guys talking before we started doing the interview is just how much you all are becoming entrepreneurs, really. And I'm wondering, did you have entrepreneurial backgrounds? Is this a new thing for you that you're learning as you go?
I started a business. I've done Kickstarter. I'm kind of in that field. Sales is very entrepreneurial in its existence and how you have to operate, So I have a lot of that sales and marketing and business experience kind of built in.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked for a number of startups and I've seen how that process works. I've never taken the leap to raise money and do a project myself, but like we were saying before, the cool thing was that we really didn't need to raise any money. We didn't need to put in some huge amount of time investment. It was just, it kind of made it really easy. The existing tools, the community, it makes it really easy to try these things with very little risk and the potential of big returns. And I've been trying to actually kind of spread that message. If you're a web developer, here's a great opportunity on what's still a relatively new platform. And like you said, if you come with some new idea, and a lot of stuff hasn't been done yet, so there's a lot of ideas. Yeah, so it's not oh, I have to come up with something no one's thought of ever. It's there's plenty of things, and you can come and you can do it and get a ton of support really fast and really easily with little risk.
And I think it looks like teams like this. You have somebody that can build a community, you have somebody that can build a product, and between the two of us, we can create something very successful in very short order. So it doesn't, I think it helps to have existing people that are already built into this community, but I don't think it has to be. I think you just need people that can sell that vision and sell what you're trying to do, and I think it takes people to deliver on that product side, and between two people in a couple months we can create something pretty awesome and get it off the ground. I don't think that that's completely unique to just the two of us and nobody else is.
You guys aren't so brilliant.
No, that's why I say we didn't really do anything special. So there's you don't need to be brilliant or anything. You just
put in some work, build something cool that you're a fan of, and that whether you don't need to be first, but some other people built card games before us and they're drafting games before us, but we're the first on a blockchain. That's kind of a big deal. I think that you won't have to be the first at every single piece of this, but if you can take some good business and then figure out a way to convert it to a blockchain business and put that on Steam, people are going to be really excited about it and help you grow. And people, we've been getting inundated with offers to go help program this and put art into it and write stories for it. My message box in Discord is miles deep. So I don't know. People kind of step into the vacuum of what we're missing some skills, we're missing some ability, and there's usually people standing by that are yeah, I'll accept some crypto and I'll help you do that, and we can crowdsource and help grow our business, and again, not be out millions of dollars. We were out thousands of dollars and already made it back.
Well, one of the things I've always felt was a bit underrated that I think you've learned over your time in the ecosystem is that you can directly engage with your customer. Yeah, they're users and they're friends and stuff like that, but if you're going to wind up firing up a business, they become potential customers. And so you can just ask them, would you guys be interested in doing this? And so you can really maximize your odds of succeeding, because if you start seeing that interest, oh, well, that person could be a writer. And I feel like you guys have done a great job.
But then they get involved, and then they spread that. I mean, like, you know, if I hire a writer, you know, on any other platform, or like, you know, if I just find somebody on Facebook or I find them on LinkedIn and they become my writer, they write for me, and then it's part of the story and I own it, and that's the end of the story. If I do this through Steam, you know, I'm posting a contest. The contest attracts a bunch of people. The authors then spread their own story, so that gets like that kind of viral messaging of this out. We crowdsourced it from lots of different people, so we had the pick of the best story that fit for that one card or that one character or that one backstory or whatever. And we're able to go kind of put this together and hopefully have that be like a really compelling story, because we're able to take all the best pieces from all the best writers that submitted. It's better than just, you know, if I just had that one author that I hired and that was the full-time gig, and they never spread the message because they just worked for me and they never like told anybody else what they were doing. They never published those parts, you know, and they worked on different stories. It might start feeling really homogenous. We just get so much utility out of the crowd, both from marketing, from really good stories, from some competition, from, I don't know, from a really active community that seems to dig this and put some buzz around it.
There are those feedback loops again. So now you guys are successful entrepreneurs, blockchain entrepreneurs in like less than 2 months. Do you have any advice? Is there anything we haven't covered yet that you've learned through this process that you can convey to other people who are thinking about becoming blockchain entrepreneurs or just entrepreneurs generally?
I'd say especially blockchain and especially Steam, just being so new and so young, like people equate it back to the beginning of the internet, and I feel like it's the same way. There's you know, you don't really have to come up with some groundbreaking idea. There's just so much low-hanging fruit that hasn't been done. That's not a huge project and a huge investment, and you don't have to be brilliant to do it. So, you know, take advantage of the opportunity because it won't be here forever.
Bo Burnham is a very funny comedian, and I really like his work. And he got interviewed, and they're like, "What would you say to all the aspiring comedians?" And he's like, "Don't do this. Don't do this. This is a complete lottery, and there's zero chance that you'll be successful. Don't do that." And I feel the exact opposite of like, we are not some like lottery winning duo that somehow like through some complete sheer luck and goodwill and force from the universe made this happen. I mean, we're just a good combo of a guy that can sell and a guy that can program. Put those two things together and you can start a blockchain company and have it run and have it work and do cool things. I mean, you don't need to win the lottery of like somehow the crowd picked you. I mean, I think that there's just tons of opportunity here. And if you just can find a good team and a good set of skills, which again are one guy that can sell and one guy that can program, between the two of them, you can have a functioning business.
When you pick something that you're both passionate about and interested in, you both like these types of games.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always felt that when I was encouraging people to create content on Steam, that was always one of the things I told them, like, nerd out about something, because you just need 20 people who really like what you're doing. And it's a similar principle. You guys picked something that you enjoy doing regardless of whether blockchains are involved. You formed a good team, you communicate well together, and you built it.
Oh yeah, I mean it takes a lot of work. Like it's not like this has been
relatively not a lot though.
Oh, sure. Well, it's a mix, right? Because you got it. We're doing this in our off hours. I got
right.
You're working just as hard, but you're producing a lot more. Like I suspect you guys are working pretty hard.
Oh, I'm
you're just getting farther on the work.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Farther,
that's
faster.
a good way to put it.
But I mean, you got to do that work, right? Like you got to put it in. You got to love this thing, and that's to your point. Like if you're doing something just to make money, or because like you think that I don't know, I'm going to be able to go scam some old ladies off of money or something. Like it's hard to put in the hours after your normal work and after you put your kids to bed and then say, okay, here's the extra 3 hours. I guess I'm sacrificing some sleep and we're going to go work on this. It's hard to put in that extra commitment at that level. So let's assume that you're bootstrapping this, you got to go put in that extra time, and it's going to be late nights and things like that. You better love it. So, to your point, be authentic, find the thing that you really like and build off of that, and find somebody else that likes it. I mean, I think that this started when Matt said, hey, Agrod, I really want to build a game at some point. And I'm like, dude, I got assets. Let's make this happen.
He's got assets.
I got assets. I got art. I got stuff. I got a theme. I got some stats that we've been working on. Like there was just a lot that was pre-built that was just waiting for, how do we package this into something? Blockchain game? Okay, I can see that working. Let's do that.
As more of the development side of things, do you have any advice for developers who are out there thinking about getting involved in blockchain?
It's such a ripe industry and there's so much opportunity that it would just be silly not to be involved. So, and again, if you're overwhelmed at the idea of like learning an entirely new set of coding skills to build a smart contract and all that stuff, Steem is a great option because you can use your web development skills that you already know and just add in what are very simple, APIs using JavaScript and utilize all the benefits of a blockchain without having to worry about, learning Solidity or, C++ or any of that. So I've been trying to kind of spread this word, and it's just such a great thing for web developers to be able to do and come in here. And you get so much support because it all helps the same community. We're
all going to the same moon.
Same moon, yeah, that was a good quote. It's actually another thing that I wanted to talk about is like I feel like it's different. Normally, if we had a business and people are giving us money, like we just want people to give us more money so that we can have more money. But here, I feel like I actually want to give all that money back. I mean, we would pay for our expenses and, I need to eat, but then we want to give all that money back, and we just want more people in and playing because it's built on a decentralized system that we're all stakeholders in. Like, you don't see a company like Blizzard saying, we're going to give all the money from Hearthstone back because it's going to make the United States better. But I'm fine with, giving out all the money as prizes to get more people in because it makes Steam better, which I am a stakeholder in. So, like, I don't want people to give me their money. I want people to come in and support this game and make Steam better because I will do well, along with everyone else that way. It's totally different. It's just like a different way of thinking.
All right, that's it for my interview with the SteemMonsters team. If you want to learn more about SteemMonsters or just start playing, head on over to SteemMonsters.com. If you want to learn more about the Steem blockchain, you can go to Steem.com, and developers can check out our developer portal at developers.steem.io. To stay on top of any updates from the Steemit team, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Steemit. We hope to be putting out more interviews like this in the future. So if you have any suggestions or would like to participate, email us at advocacy@steemit.com. And remember, keep calm and steam on.